And now it's time for everyone's favourite segment where we play wacky news clips with your favourite comedians. It's Talking Wacky Clips. Please welcome to the stage for your panel for tonight. As seen on the ABC TV show Question Everything, it's Raw Comedy winner Beck Melrose. He is the creator and host of 3-time winner for Best Comedy Podcast. It's Dan Ilic. And you know him from the ABC Radio Sydney, and he's one of the founding members of The Chaser. It's Dominic Knight.
All right, welcome everyone. Can everyone see the screen all right?
As they say when you guest on the ABC, good to be with you.
Yes.
It's good to be with you.
Thanks for being here, guys, and welcome to the unrehearsed half of the show. It's going to be interesting. I guess, first of all, you've seen me say what makes a good wacky clip. What about you guys? Dom, let's start with you. You worked with The Chaser since the beginning. What makes a good wacky clip for you?
Oh, look, I think the great thing about the Anthony Green clip that you had before is that happens every single election night.
Yes.
And every election night, Anthony Green just gets this look of disappointment as he goes, not again. Not again. It's not going to work again.
Let me go back to the start there. Nope. This is live television, folks.
Now, Beck, you're writing on Gruen, and you're writing Question Everything. So you must go through a lot of news and funny clips. What makes a funny clip for you?
Unfortunately, I do. That's why my mental health is so bad. A wacky clip for me, I think, requires one of two elements: either a wild animal or Carl Stefanovic.
Often hard to tell the two apart,
is,
frankly.
Yeah, the Venn diagram's quite narrow. There's a lot of overlap, but
tuned.
that's my favourite. That's my favourite genre.
It's true. The best clip of all time is Carl drunk at the Logies. After the Logies, just powered through to the following morning, thought, I've got this. He did not have this. That is, if you have not seen that, I could watch that every single day. In fact, I should set my alarm to that. That is gold.
I love it. I watch Carl best-ofs all the time. Like, I wake up... Every time I'm on a news show, I'm like, I'll have Today. I wake up with Today every day.
Actually, that's the way they can beat Sunrise in the ratings, isn't it? Just getting Carl smashed every morning. I'd watch that for sure.
He doesn't need
Most
it.
of the ratings for Today
card.
and Sunrise is just Beck watching.
Yeah.
Yes, and me looking for funny clips.
I'm one
as
of
well.
the 20 that's watching.
And what about you, Dan? You've worked on a lot of political stuff. Do you like the political wacky clips more? What's your favourite type?
My wacky clip heritage goes way back to my first job in television. I worked at Funny Stone Videos, and
no way.
Yeah,
that was my first TV debut.
Yeah, I know. For anyone under the age of 40, it is like TikTok, but on TV, pretty much. And it is like the uni lad compiles of people falling down. That is Funny Stone Videos. And I can tell you that it's so fascinating because in the cottages of Funny Stone Videos, which shared the same cottage as 60 Minutes, their board was on one wall, our board was on the other wall. Their board had like very serious stories about George W. Bush. And we literally had every clip that would appear in Funny Stone Videos on a little comp card on the wall. And so you'd read it and you go, oh, Batty Grandma Falls. Oh,
So this is my question.
You instantly know what that little clip is. It's a Batty Grandma Falls.
Most of that show was children getting injured, right? For the trike falling over or
100%.
whatever. I want to know
best.
whether or not, how many of those was set up by the parents on purpose?
Tons.
And why the fuck didn't 60 Minutes investigate that shit? That's what I want to know. They were right next door!
They're right next door! And for any people who are old, if you ever you watched Funny Stone Videos and you thought, that looks like a really old clip, it's because it was.
Yep.
And people, when we'd fill in the show, we'd go back to old tapes to find, oh, well, we just need a couple more clips. Let's just go to 1986 and see what's in that tape.
I could tell when they blurred the dates on Funny Stone Videos. Playing like,
That was it. That was the...
didn't I see this in 1988
Yes,
with Bob
yeah,
Saget?
if the dates were blurred, it was some guy's job to go through and blur everything, pretty
Yes.
much.
That was my TV debut. Funny Stone Videos.
Really?
Hey!
Yeah.
Beck Melrose, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my God!
I didn't know we were in the presence of
Yeah.
television royalty.
Did you
I've
suffer
seen
any
men get hit in the
physical
balls at
harm?
weddings.
Did you suffer any physical harm?
No, I didn't. I was just a little killjoy because there was a kid running around skidding on his knees and he pulled down a tablecloth at a wedding. And
Oh my
me,
God.
which is exactly how I've grown up, I went... Very cute.
If that was on TV today, you'd be clipped and memed, turned into a GIF. I'd be sending to each other in the group chat. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
peaked too early, unfortunately.
At least on Funny Home Videos, you could potentially win $500. Going viral, you get nothing.
And a JVC camcorder.
Yeah, don't forget the JVC.
Whatever happened to JVC?
I don't know.
I've got a 1-year-old and a
It's in our phone.
5-year-old. I've had them at the wrong time. I should be milking that shit.
Just
for
set
TikTok.
up cameras around the house, don't film
I'm
it.
on it.
But the reason we're here, of course, is talking wacky clips. I'm pitching to take over the insider segment. But we're going to start with some topical clips because there's been a few things in the news this week, and I don't know how many have been following. There's this referendum happening, and just
That's killed the mood, ladies and gentlemen.
no, but
You've already lost 60% of the people.
but
This is Marrickville. You've
Don't say no.
No,
Don't
no,
say no
sorry.
again, Dylan, please.
This is how-
But I don't know how many people saw Jacinta Price at the press club yesterday. Did anyone hear comments when she said this?
Do you believe the history of colonisation continues to have an impact on some Indigenous Australians?
No. I'll be honest with you, no, I don't think so. Positive impact, absolutely. I mean, now we've got running water, we've got readily available food.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, now we've got Netflix. It's amazing.
I mean, if you're adopted by the right wing of the Liberal Party, life can be very good for you.
Yes, that clip might be an argument against consulting First Nations people, but I don't want to generalise from that.
The other big clip of the week is this guy, Tim Gurner,
Hello.
billionaire property developer who went viral, millions of views for saying this.
We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50%, in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy.
Yes, capitalism, ladies and gentlemen. What are your reactions? Do you think
Can
we need
you
to make more
imagine
people
how much?
unemployed?
Can you imagine how much that clip would have delighted Alan Joyce? like Alan Joyce was down for Public Enemy #1 for the rest of the year, and this guy goes, "Hold my beer."
Speaking true.
I reckon he got a chairman's lounge membership for doing that. I honestly think Alan Joyce is like, "Come on in." That's extraordinary. Talk about the quiet part out loud.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think we know what the C in CEO stands for now. That's brutal. I
Absolutely.
can't believe he said that.
Has he lost his job?
No, he's lost his tie.
Yes.
Because honestly, that guy should join the Spanish football.
Yes,
president,
yes.
honestly.
Don't worry, he wrote an apology on LinkedIn, so he'll be fine. Now, I told you guys to bring some of your favourite clips down, and first up, we've got Dan. Do you want to introduce your clip, Dan? What's going on here?
I also, like Beck, I look at a lot of wacky clips for my show, and I love this version of a wacky clip. This is basically cookers yelling at empty buildings.
What a genre.
Cookers are people who believe that vaccinations will give you 5G in your brain and things like that. And
Which is, I'd love to have 5G in my brain.
so would I. Stop carrying this phone around. Jesus. And so they just go around yelling at empty buildings. In Canberra, they stand outside Yallalumra, the Governor-General's residence, but on the other shore of the opposite the lake, and they yell across the lake to the Governor-General with a megaphone. But this is great. This is a clip in Melbourne outside the governor, the state governor's residence, with a cooker yelling about how she's not going to pick up the tab of a certain major sporting event. Have a listen.
I instruct you to coordinate with Governor-General David Hurley to ensure all documents Senator Bill Heffernan produced to the Royal Commission are released to the people, unredacted, immediately. And you can tell your little buddy, Daniel Andrews, the taxpayers are not paying for him cancelling the Olympics. No more money.
This is why
Yeah, that's it.
we need to teach boomers how to make podcasts, because I do that in my home office all the time.
Who's put a kick me sign on her back? What's she got on her back? That's exactly what it looks like, right?
That is terrible, but it's still better than Mrs. Hurley singing a song.
Yes, absolutely.
And normally I'm on the side of protesters, but frankly, I think the Chinese government had the right approach to that. Where's a tank when
Yes.
you need one?
All right, our next...
This guy in the
Moving on.
front row is chortling like, that's a bit wrong, but I agree.
It was 1989. It's not too soon, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
Moving on, Dom. One of Dom's contributions is this. Do you want to intro it?
I've just got to confess something before we play the clip. I made a terrible mistake. I sent Dylan completely unintentionally a clip of Chris Kenny because my first thought was, well, I haven't really been watching funny clips, but Sky News will have something. I sent Chris Kenny and a bunch of dogs. That's all I'm going to say. I think we actually signed a legal agreement not to mention that ever again.
In the same sentence, no, yes.
So I do apologise. It was a Pavlovian slip. So basically, Chris Kenny, God love him, he is the biggest viewer of the ABC that there is. Like, I think he wakes up and just listens. Him and Jared Henderson are there basically listening to the ABC and essentially masturbating whenever they hear something that they can object to. This is the most obscure thing. And frankly, Triple J has a late-night call-in show that helps teens understand sex, right? Chris Kenny came across it and he fucking loved it.
Okay, now what's funny is it's the other clip.
Oh, whoops. It says on the screen, Orchestra of Good Boys. That's what a professional job would be.
If Chris Kenny came across that, I could... Oh, that's very sad. I'm very
If Chris Kenny came during the making of this clip, who could blame him?
We will get to that clip.
This is sorry, I want to wind up for now. So this is a bizarre. I think it's from Denmark, and apparently, Richard Wagner's, the fascist composer.
One of my favourites.
I think it was his father wrote a piece of music featuring classical music featuring parts for dogs. Here is why that is a terrible idea. Mozart's father, not Wagner. Wrong joke.
Perfect.
Wow.
It wasn't hard for Mozart to be the best composer in the family at age 3.
That actually adheres to quite a few of Dylan's rules for clips. Yeah.
Well, I think animals need to be their own category because 2 of you submitted animal clips. Beck, you've got this one. But now we did do a thing on News Fighters on the lions escaping the zoo, but Beck found the family who was in the zoo when the lions escaped.
That was just the most incredible 24 hours of my life. If you're a Today fan, it was peak Today. Like, Carl was on. It was like it was a situation room. They were having all the graphics that you could possibly imagine. Everything stopped down. They had no idea what was going on. They were just pontificating all morning. It was incredible television. Then, at one point, there was some scratch marks, and it was like, zoom in on the hole. It was amazing footage. The following day, they needed to milk it, so they found a family that was there at the zoo, and Carl interviewed them for 10 minutes, and it was just, I have no idea what section he chose. I didn't need to tell you because it's just all gold, so let's just watch and see.
It was a close call for our next guest, the Perry family, who were on site at the time. Pleased to say Magnus, Dominique, along with their beautiful kids, Lucas and Oliver, join us now. Lucky. What was it like?
Oh, there was blood everywhere, kids missing. No. No, it was...
We went in with 3 kids, came back.
How would you sum up the experience?
A bit of fun.
Yeah.
Bit of fun, almost being killed by lions at the zoo.
Let's point out that they brought these poor children who were terrified of the zoo into a studio full of pictures of fucking lions and
triggering.
Giant pictures. Yeah.
Needs a trigger warning. Next up, Dom, we've got...
Yeah.
Yes, which I think you've...
As I was saying, Chris Kenny is the ABC's most loyal viewer. Apparently he calls the quiz on Nightlife, by the way. I can't remember what it is. He's got some
Chris
sort of...
Kenny calls the quiz?
It's something like Chris from Bondi
in.
or something. So there you go. If you ever hear that, it's Chris Kenny. He loves the ABC so much because it gives him a job, and this is his job.
So I just happened to see a clip on social media, an excerpt from Triple J, a radio station apparently so important to the nation that it needs to be funded with your hard-earned tax dollars. And just have a listen to what they do with your money.
A guy that I was sleeping with only for a couple of weeks in my bed one night when I was there, didn't clean up after himself and expected me to do it all. And then when we went for coffee afterwards, just let me pay for my coffee. Not even an apology coffee, nothing like that. And then so I had to spend the whole day cleaning up the sheets, and it wasn't even my
sounds like the last thing he needs a coffee, to be honest.
The show is called The Hookup, apparently, and it focuses, as it happily promotes, on love and effing. Okay, that's what makes the world go round, I suppose. But why are we funding this crass nonsense?
Because otherwise you wouldn't have a show, Chris Kenny. Yes. So that is Chris Kenny shitting the bed about people shitting the bed. That's what that is.
I really did enjoy how Sky News only really gets about 20 to 30,000 viewers a night, but Triple J's Hookup has 51,000 followers on Instagram.
Did they also bleep out pooping?
Yeah, did Sky News bleeped out the word pooping?
And yet they broadcast the words Chris Kenny every single day.
Sorry, Chris Kenny, apparently.
Now, Beck, you were talking about the Matildas, and you reminded me of this event.
Oh, yes.
This was another belter,
This is the
wasn't
greatest.
it? As far as wacky clips go, this has got to be up there. Has anyone not seen this?
I haven't seen it. I've heard,
You haven't seen it?
heard all about it.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. This
I'm
was
desperate.
cracking. So Barnaby Joyce has woken up. He's got Matilda's fever. He's caught it like the rest of the country. He's reporting back on the wrong game. Let's have a look.
Well, I went to the pub and watched them on the weekend, but I think, and you'll see it on the Facebook post, I think we're watching the wrong game. I think they'd put on a repeat because it was on Channel 10. I don't think it was the right one, but because when we finished the game, Australia had 1-0 in full time. So we were like, that's good. Still won.
Barnaby, just to let you know, the Matildas won.
I know. It was an incredible penalty shootout, which we went and had dinner because we thought they'd won 1-0 in that full time.
What sort of dimwit at the pub put on a friendly match that was shown on Channel 10? Didn't anyone around that bar go, hey, the Matildas on Channel 7, what are we doing watching Channel 10?
Mate, I saw it. I must admit, it did go through my mind. Because I saw Channel 10, I went, I'm sure it's on 7, you know, I'm sure, because I did Sunrise, I'm sure, there must be some extra feed or there's some sort of magic happening in the pub.
Yes, magic happening in the pub.
Absolute magic.
That's Barnaby's excuse why he goes to the pub every night. There's magic there.
That should be a whole other category, Barnaby Joyce.
I think
Barnaby
he
Joyce
is
has
his
got
own
thousands of clips. One of my favourite things he's ever said, which is a clip I always, it's just see it in my brain, him on Insiders talking about small modular nuclear reactors. And he's like, David, you go down to the IGA, no one down there is talking about marriage equality. They're all talking about small modular nuclear reactors.
Barnaby Joyce is a small modular nuclear. Look, that's why it's a warning sign.
Look.
And to me, the magic that happened at the pub that night was that Barnaby Joyce was sober enough to see a television without having passed out in his beer. I mean, well done, Barnaby.
I just think it's exciting. It's not the first time he's been caught looking at the wrong women, is it?
Oh, there you go. On that note, let's skip ahead to our game. Let's skip ahead here. Got to skip ahead a few. Let's skip ahead a few. Okay, yes. Go.
It's now time for Australia's favourite new game where you have to read the politician's mind and say, what are they going to say next? It's Finish That Soundbite.
We've got a sting.
Yeah, we got a music sting.
So
all right,
professional.
all right, panel. This is the fun game. So I'm going to play the first half of a politician's soundbite, and you guys you can each take a guess at trying to finish it. All right, let's go. First one up.
And I tell you what, I would much sooner live in Australia than
in a Titan submersible.
Republic of North Korea.
Taronga Zoo last March.
Oh, yes.
Barnaby Joyce's electorate.
Stefan, any ideas? Much rather live in Australia than
South Africa.
Yes. All right, let's see what the answer is.
And I tell you what, I would much sooner live in Australia than anywhere else in the nation.
Nailed it.
Anywhere else in the nation.
Okay, can anyone in the audience name that man?
Yes, I had to name him.
That's Michael McCormack. Former leader of the Nationals.
Former Nationals
How
leader.
the fuck did you know that?
Because it's Michael McCormack, former leader of the Nationals.
Alrighty, next.
He once talked about climate change, saying, he was doing a bit for the news, saying, people who worry about climate change are just latte sippers. And he was there in a cafe in Wagga drinking a latte.
I interviewed him in Wagga once, and the ABC studios flooded in Wagga. It was terrible. And he and his family turned up with a ute. He's got some strapping young boys, and they helped evacuate the ABC studio. And it was at that point that we realised he could never be Nationals leader on an ongoing basis.
All right, we're fast running out of time. The next one, let's go.
They're asking for a fourth term based upon spraying money around. The only time that this government holds a hose
is when Scott Morrison goes to Engadine McDonald's.
Work Christmas party at Parliament House.
I can't top Dom's, I don't think. I think that's very good. Yeah.
All right, let's hear how it finishes.
The only time that this government holds a hose is to spray money around.
It just makes no sense. States the obvious. All right, next one I think is let's just see who it is.
If you go back through social media, he ripped into Bronwyn Bishop at the time for spending $5,000, I think it was, on a helicopter. Well, he makes, Bronny look like
Tight-ass McTight-ass.
A small modular nuclear reactor.
I'd say out of touch.
All right, let's see. This, of course, is about Richard Marles' VIP flight scandal. Let's see what the answer is.
Well, he makes, Bronny look like a completely inefficient approach to air travel.
Actually, I think small modular nuclear reactor is pretty good on there. That's pretty good, yeah.
Alrighty, that's the end of the show. Albo, what did you think of the show? Yes, that's exactly what he thought. What he thought of the show. All right, thanks to my panel for coming down. Dan Ilic, Dom Knight, Beck Melrose.
Before we go, can I just say this referendum, please vote YE yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Bain, please give him a big round of applause. One of the finest men working in comedy in Australia.
Thank you,
Dylan.
Stefan, take us home.
Yes, thank you for joining us today at Newsfighters at the Sydney Fringe Festival. A huge thank you to our guests Beck Melrose, Dan Ilic and Dominic Knight. Don't forget to pitch in to support the show at patreon.com/Irrational Fear and subscribe to this podcast at irrationalfear.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NewsFightersPod or subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/Newsfighters. Or you can also buy us a drink after the show at the bar. Come and say hi.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll see you outside in a bit. Thanks for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is Newsfighters.